Today I'm reacting to your Friday Night SmackDown Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether they're good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you're following me on X because I ask for your hot take on there after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every WWE Premium Live event. As always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm really confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if you're looking for our review of Friday Night SmackDown, it's already up and available over on the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap, and it includes footage so you can see exactly what we're talking about. Over there, we upload so much more content that never sees the light of day here on YouTube, so go check it out. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment. Let's read your stupid shit. Just remember, Solo smashed Paul's phone. So this is the current prevailing theory amongst wrestling fans as to the reason why when Roman Reigns tried to call Paul Heyman the wise man after Jay telling him to make the call loose, as to why he got a dialed tone and that message saying that the number was no longer in service. I mean, my theory was that Paul Heyman just refused to pay his phone bill, considering there are alleged stories of him refusing to pay talent in ECW, so it wouldn't be entirely out of character. But yeah, this is probably what they're going to go with. They're probably going to go with the storyline, but if you really want to be an asshole about it and you want to nitpick, phone numbers these days aren't actually tied to physical devices. It's just what's on your profile. If your phone gets smashed, if it goes into the bottom of the ocean, into a river, you can get a new phone and get the same phone number. Unless it's like a prepaid number, which is usually what criminals use. And I guess that kind of works with the Bloodline and what they used to be before, because they were kind of like a little bit of a criminal syndicate, so maybe. But I'm sure that they're going to tell the story that Roman Reigns thinks that Paul Heyman blocked him or changed his number or is ghosting him, whatever, but it probably will come down to the phone being smashed. I bet you that they probably forgot about this story wrinkle and they're seeing everyone online talking about it, and Triple H is going like, oh, shit, that's a great idea. We're going to go with that. I'm convinced that Triple H has burner Twitter accounts and he's using ideas that float on Twitter and he manifests them into storylines on screen. I'm convinced of this. Plus, let's be honest, it's a cool callback. It would be a cool callback and I guess a kind of logical reason as to why he kind of ghosted Roman Reigns. When Paul Heyman returns, imagine Braun Breaker shows up as Heyman's hand-picked teammate for the OG Bloodline in the WarGames match. Sure, and yeah, let's ignore the fact that he just recently feuded with Sami Zayn and recently feuded with Jey Uso, literally 50% of the team. No, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever, which is why I said it didn't make any sense when Jimmy was trying to convince Braun to join the team. It's just illogical, all right? And what's up with the Bloodline trying to recruit people that just don't make sense? We had it on SmackDown with Sami trying to recruit LA Knight, the guy who literally got screwed by the Bloodline and got screwed by Jimmy Uso out of potentially beating Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel last year. Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns, who are, by the way, on the team that dumbass Sami Zayn is asking him to join in. It's just Seth Rollins, bro. It's gonna be Seth Rollins. I don't know what to tell you. The rise of Bronson Reed in 2024 must be studied because he's now feuding with Roman. It's been an amazing ride to watch Bronson Reed go through this middling mid-card guy into this, what I think is now a perennial, forever here to stay main event guy. And it started all with the day basically right after SummerSlam. So this rise has been very, very quick to materialize in front of our very eyes. And I'm here for the ride. It's been fantastic. And the thing that I said, even though I think it's weird that he's joined the Bloodline and people are like, well, he's Samoan. Okay, sure. Is every person from the island of Samoa or American Samoa just gonna join this fucking team then? I think it's weird that he's on this team, but whatever. It's cool for Bronson Reed to be in a PLE main event because this is definitely going to close the show, and he's rubbing shoulders against guys like Seth Rollins and now Roman Reigns. That is insane. That is a crazy catapult when you compare where Bronson Reed was at the same time last year. Hell, you don't even need to go that far. You can literally look like 4 months ago and it is a completely different dude entirely as to what Bronson Reed was doing 4 months ago versus what he's doing now. Ciampa's attack makes me curious whether DIY will split or they both become a heel tag team. But either way, I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I'm actually leaning towards the fact that they're both gonna turn heel. I feel like that would actually be a new wrinkle that they haven't explored, both Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano being the bad guys of the tag team division, because we've seen the split up before. We've seen the feud before. And I'm sure at some point or another, Triple H is going to dig into that bag of greatest hits that he's got from the NXT Black and Gold days. But to me, I feel like the writing on the wall says that they're going to both turn heel out of frustration with how they've been booked, out of frustration that people are cutting the line ahead of them, and it would be a justified heel turn that I'm here for. And it's not as if Johnny Gargano is this like entirely like do-gooder forever babyface. Like we've seen him kind of recently, just a couple of years ago, play a really entertaining heel as the leader of The Way. And if maybe this leads to a reunification of The Way, that'd be kind of sick. So the way that I see the tag team division going, I could see the Profits splitting, and I could see DIY turning heels and them being the proper foils to the babyface Motor City Machine Guns. This is the first real story that Cody is involved in during his reign that he can actually invest himself into. It shows in this promo, you see old Cody, a Cody that was around a lot more frequent pre-WrestleMania 40. I'm very excited for this feud. You are 100% right here, because if we look at the feuds that Cody Rhodes has been involved in since winning the title at WrestleMania 40, they've either been like micro feuds that, you know, nobody ever believed were ever going to amount to him potentially losing the championship. So a lot of people just sort of saw them as like filler feuds. Think AJ Styles, as much as I enjoyed that feud, don't get me wrong. The match against Logan Paul, for example. Or it was a feud where he wasn't even the main character of. The Bloodline story, the stuff that he did at Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Bad Blood. This is now a proper Cody Rhodes through and through storyline that we are invested in because of Cody, not because of other factors. So I'm in for this. I feel like this is the first proper time that Cody's title is actually in danger. And that to me screams excitement for this potential matchup between Cody and Kevin Owens. It's funny because they're kind of doing the same thing with Gunther, where he's kind of going through these feuds that are just sort of going through the motions as they gear him up for proper feuds, because Gunther has feuded with guys that we've already kind of seen him feud against in Sami Zayn, Randy Orton, and Damian Priest. And I'm sure that after the Damian Priest feud, we will actually get a proper Gunther plot that we can actually invest ourselves into, because he's actually in danger of losing it. So I'm on board with this Cody Rhodes storyline. I agree that this is the most invested that he's been and the most invested that I've been. And I think the most invested that we've all been in a Cody Rhodes storyline, because this is a Cody Rhodes led storyline. No more Bloodline. Thank goodness. Chelsea Green truly deserves to be the women's US champion. She is incredible in ring and has amazing character. She can get the flowers she deserves. She absolutely deserves her flowers. I absolutely believe that she deserves to be the inaugural United States Women's Champion. However, every fiber of my being is telling me that she's just going to get screwed over again. All right. Time and time and time again, WWE keeps putting her in positions where she's so close, but she continues to lose time after time after time. And I'm still convinced that they're probably going to do that, even though I truly believe that Chelsea Green is the one that you should put the strap on first. By strap on, I mean like title, all right, championship. My beautiful king is back. Oh, how we've missed you, Shinsuke. About time. I think in my predictions video for every WWE superstar, like towards the end of the year, I said that we probably won't get Shinsuke until the end of the year, so I've lost that bet, which I'm happy. I'm glad that Shinsuke is back, and I feel like this is a perfect position to put him in, because it gives him a brand new opponent, and it gives LA Knight a brand new opponent as well. And because we don't know what kind of Shinsuke we're getting, this like Sith Lord from Star Wars, like deprived of sleep Shinsuke Nakamura looking dude. Even I'm afraid for LA Knight's championship reign, because we don't know what kind of Shinsuke we have here. If this is just the same old Shinsuke, then I'd say that this is just fodder for LA Knight. But because we don't yet know what we're getting, it gets me excited about the thought of LA Knight's championship reign actually being endangered to this new repackaged Shinsuke Nakamura. It's about damn time. Shinsuke is too good to be sitting on the sidelines. I just hope he actually wins a feud here or there, because my goodness, what did he go through? Like 2 years of losing every single freaking feud that he was a part of? It's time for Shinsuke to get a couple dubs. By the way, this also potentially opens up the door for Shinsuke versus Andrade, Shinsuke versus Melo. And that's a mouth-watering thought, because those matches would be sick. New Bloodline needs to win WarGames. They are stacked, and this loss would show the OGs how much they actually need the missing piece, the Wise Man. I guess it depends whether or not the Wise Man shows up before Survivor Series. If the wise man, Paul Heyman, shows up before Survivor Series, then OG Bloodline is winning. If he doesn't, then I think that you're right. I feel like new Bloodline is going to win. And I also think that you're right, that the missing piece will be shown to be the wise man, Paul Heyman. However, I don't think that the new Bloodline needs the win to look strong, as some people might think, because I mean, they just beat the original Bloodline clean at Crown Jewel. Granted, it wasn't the entire original Bloodline, but it was still like pretty OG. Now, if I'm a betting man, I'd still probably go with Roman Reigns' Bloodline being the ones to win, but I do agree with your thought here. Like, if the missing piece is Paul Heyman, if Paul Heyman isn't part of the picture yet, then I feel like it would be kind of poetic if Roman's Bloodline loses and that Roman's Bloodline isn't fully gelled together until the guy that keeps them together and gels them together comes back into the picture, that being the wise man. As disappointed as I am about Seth and Bronson being shoehorned into WarGames, I'm so happy for how they've been treating Bronson lately. Now even taking out Roman. This is a great look for him. I think this is kind of the epitome of a lot of wrestling fans right now. I feel like a lot of us are kind of in this same boat where we're like, man, this probably should have been 4v4. 4v4 was the way to go. 4v4 is what made the most sense. But if you're gonna give us Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins, I'm sure it'll be entertaining. I still think it's weird that you're adding both of them, but hell, at the very least, this is good for Bronson Reed, which it is. This is such a huge career moment for Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed looked like $1 million alongside Solo Sikoa in him destroying Roman Reigns. We've talked a lot about on this channel about how I'm always concerned about Bronson Reed's current aura and current run just all of a sudden stopping and then him being sent right back down to the lower mid card like Shinsuke Nakamura was at this time last year. But I think he's here to stay with the position that they've put him in, the shoulders that he's rubbing against. Bronson Reed is a forever main eventer, it seems. That's what happens when you use real glass. Oh my God! What? Yo, with a tombstone? Oh my God.
No, that's even worse.
That, folks, was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, available exclusively over on patreon.com/Santizap. This week, we're going to be looking at the wild supermarket brawl between Booker T and Stone Cold Steve Austin. We have a match for the TNA World title between AJ Styles and Bully Ray. We're looking at the carnage that was King of the Ring 2001 between Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle. We're once again going to Japan, watching Io Sky take on Utami in Marigold in 2024. And we're wrapping up the week with the instant classic that was Walter versus Ilya Dragunov for the NXT UK title. You're going to be getting these watch-alongs alongside the Undertaker Streak watch-along, the Royal Rumble watch-along, the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, and the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everywhere else. We've also just launched a Patreon exclusive Discord page where this week we're going to be watching Ready to Rumble together as a community. So if you want to get access to all of this, which is all content that can never appear on YouTube, go over to patreon.com/Santizap. Head on over there, give it 1 month. I'm confident that you're going to fall in love with it because not only do you get so much more content that never appears on YouTube, but it's a really tight community over there as well of wrestling fans. I'll put the link in the description for you as well as the link in the pinned comment. Just come on by. That's it, folks. If you're a patron, thank you for your support. Let's get back to the video. Bronson's whole thing is that he wants a main event spot. WarGames is the spot, and Solo gave him that opportunity, so he's taking it. The people saying that he shouldn't be involved because he's not family aren't looking outside of the immediate story. There are multiple parts. There are multiple parts, but I feel like these are multiple parts that don't play with each other. I feel like these are multiple parts that you're trying to use confirmation bias to say, look, see, they work, when really they don't. This should be 4v4. But again, I reiterate, it's fine. All right, Bronson and Seth are going to be fun additions, but they no matter how you freaking slice it, they don't make sense. They feel forced and they feel shoehorned. Candice LeRae should have won that triple threat. I actually agree, but let's not ignore the fact that B-Fab was like actually amazing, and I didn't know that she had that dog in her. Clearly, it's a case of like, clearly she's been able to go this whole time, just WWE never let her. Also, that triple threat match was fantastic, and I love when WWE does these like triple threat match for your number one contenderships and like these types of tournaments, because it always leads to absolute barn burners. And I feel like we're going to be getting barn burners from the women's division for the next couple of weeks. And I'm excited about that. But I did think Candice was going to win. I thought that kind of like from a character point of view and where storylines could go, that Candice made the most sense here. But I guess like if you do want to legitimize the tournament winner. Beating somebody like Bayley towards the semifinals or even the finals could really help cement that eventual US title winner, just so long as it's not Bayley. Off topic, but Netflix's failure to smoothly stream this Paul Tyson fight has genuinely concerned me for when Raw moves to Netflix. Me too. However, this was a significantly much bigger single event than what Monday Night Raw is going to be. Like, this is an event that was seen by over 100 million people at the same time trying to access the very same live stream at the same time. So I don't think that they're going to be comparable in terms of scale, because in the United States, Raw will likely be seen by 3 to 4 million people on Netflix, and then you tack on an extra several handfuls of millions across the world. Even then, at its peak, it won't even come close to the numbers that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson did. That being said, it still absolutely brings concern to the table, because I feel like a lot of us were expecting just a really smooth transition into Netflix, and it might just not be the case. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as the stream was for Paul and Tyson, because that thing was unbearably bad and glitchy throughout the entire night. But I have fingers crossed that, you know, with this being a weekly production, with this being less people that are trying to tune in at the same time, with there being less pressure about having to watch Raw live, because I feel like a lot of people already watch Raw on demand as is. It's already part of their weekly schedule. I don't think that we're going to have that many people jamming in, cramming in at the same time trying to watch it live, because a lot of people are already used to watching it the day after. Meanwhile, the Paul and Tyson match, like, that was a freak show. Like, you had to be there in the moment for it to be interesting. You had to be there in the live ecosystem to be part of the conversation. But for Raws, SmackDowns, and WWE shows, that doesn't always have to be the case. Am I the only one that was blown away by B-Fab's performance? Hell no, my entire stream was. We didn't know that she had that in her. Please give us more B-Fab matches. And her entrance was awesome. Like, she actually had some aura about her. SmackDown's tag team division is so exciting, and having Motor City Machine Guns as the champs is the best thing to happen. But if they're going to be elevating the division, I don't see Motor City Machine Guns dropping the titles anytime soon. Heck, I want them to have barn burning of a match at next year's Mania. Yeah, the SmackDown tag team division is torching, it's cooking, and having Motor City as the champions, I agree with you. I think it's the right move. I think that they're going to be great fighting champions, getting the best possible match out of every single opponent that they have. And then when you compare and contrast to the champions over on Monday Night Raw, which as of the making of this video are JD McDonough and Finn Balor, that literally never appear on screen as a tag team and also never defend the championships. And I rarely see the actual championships appear on Raw anymore. Like, it's night and day. The way that SmackDown is doing it with Motor City is fantastic. Having LA Knight do an open challenge while setting up for the next feud is absolutely fantastic. Honestly, surprised that they didn't do this earlier. I think that this is great. I think that this is a great stalling tactic, like you said, for LA Knight to get his next feud. And this is a great way to showcase how good and how deep the WWE division is as a whole, because it doesn't always have to be about the marquee household names to deliver good matches. You can get an amazing match out of Berto because he's an amazing talent that never really got screen time and an opportunity. But these open challenges, even though they're foregone conclusions that the champion is going to win, at least give us a quick reminder of how deep the roster is. And it was a great showcase of how crafty and good and clean Berto actually is. That is a perfect way to do Naomi losing again. She looks damn strong with this showing, and while I can't wait for her to win, she still looks strong here. That was just an amazing main event in general, from head to toe. The close calls in the last 5 minutes of the match alone had me convinced that Naomi was going to win. And not only did they have me convinced that Naomi was going to win, they convinced me that I wanted to see Naomi win, if you can believe that. I also think that that was Naomi's best match since coming back to the WWE. And we can't just give all the props to Naomi. Let's give some props to Nia Jax, a person that nobody ever wants to give props to, which I think is so unfair. Bittersweet having the tournament without Indy. Was hoping for a few NXT girls to get spotlighted also. Could have just taken out the tag champs and Tiffany to make that happen. But I'm glad that the rest of the division is getting time on TV. Yeah, see, there are a lot of people in this tournament that are already busy somewhere else, already getting tons of screen time. And I feel like the women's mid-card title is supposed to be alleviating the problem of women that don't get enough screen time finally getting worthy screen time that matters. Matches that actually matter in terms of the result. And having these people that are already perennially part of the main event and already part of storylines and already getting tons of screen time doesn't really do what I think this title is going to do justice. That being said, having these big names that you're mentioning helps legitimize the initial champion as a huge champion for beating out everybody else that you've listed here. So it's a double-edged sword here. It cuts both ways. But I won't lie, this would have been a perfect place to have Indy Hartwell. It really would have been a great showcase of how good she is because, like I said, I feel like this title will ultimately allow the cream to rise to the top, cream that wasn't getting enough time, and Indy could have been one of those. We need to start giving Nia Jax her flowers. Her reign as champion has been phenomenal, and she's doing the best work of her career. Can we please have Stratton cash in on Liv? Just stop with the Nia Jax hate, bro. Just accept that she's good now. You might not find her entertaining, but just accept she's good now. These two are beautiful menaces who came, served, and attacked and left. We love Liv Kell. Is that the name that they're going with now in the stan community? Liv Kell? I kind of like that. Seems like Rakizel didn't take off. I really tried to make Rakizel a thing. But I like that not only is the men's WarGames match transitioning between both shows, that we're doing that with the women as well. I still think that this just sort of feels like a WarGames match for the sake of having a WarGames match, but at least they're trying their best with it. The segment between Bayley, Naomi, Bianca, and Jade does give out the possible Bayley and Io Sky reunion and interaction that I hope happens leading up to Survivor Series if Io shows up to an upcoming SmackDown episode. If Bayley gets added to this team really makes absolutely no sense, but I would like to see an interaction between Io and Bayley because I firmly believe that WWE not doing an immediate follow-up feud between Bayley and Io Sky is the reason why Bayley's championship reign felt so lackluster, because it started off so hot with a great feud with one of the best matches of that year's WrestleMania, and then they didn't follow it up. They moved Io Sky to a different show and Damage Control to a different show when it was the relationship between Bayley and Damage Control that made Bayley such an interesting and sympathetic babyface in the first place, and you robbed that away from her right at the start of her championship reign. I would love to see what this interaction and what this potential reunion would look like, but if they're on the same team, I'm completely taken out. And if they do end up being on the same team, it better be a team that doesn't work or gel well together, that costs each other the match. Not only that, I'd like to see them attack each other if they are all in the same cage together. It should have been Vinci that accepted the open challenge. Well, that's the beauty of open challenges. It can be Vinci next week, and it can be Nakamura the week after that, and it can be one of the guys from Pretty Deadly after that. That is the beauty of open challenges, and I hope that one day Vinci does accept one. This means nothing now. That's what I've been saying. Dude, if Seth Rollins aligns with Roman Reigns, that is ridiculous. It will not make any sense, and whatever. It's probably going to happen, so we just have to accept it, but it 100% diminishes this moment. All right, folks, that's it for this week's Hot Takes. Again, don't forget that the review is over on Patreon, but that's it, folks. I'm done. Get out of here.